Hey, 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 hey. Hey, 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 hey. Black excellence, black beauty, and black pride. Black power from all diasporas coincide. Progressive truth and regression eventually collide. May the beauty of the people no longer be set aside. May the black queen's grace continually mesmerize the millions who couldn't see it when looking into her eyes. And the black man's plight no longer be the disguise. Oppression, emasculation, they wanna castricize him. Take him away from the black queen, put him inside prison for slave labor, he institutionalized. Wondering on the outside, is she willing to ride? Is she willing to ride? Is she willing to fight for the love, even despite the fact that he doing time? Love that conquers all will never fade with time. If she don't choose the love that appreciates every life, his flame might get dim and he may eventually.
And welcome to the Urban Impact Show. I am one of your hosts, Rob Johnson.
And the survey results are in, and I'm your favorite host, Shekinah Young.
The survey results,
yes.
the survey results are in, and you are the favorite.
Yes, I am.
I will, even though the survey was only 2 people, but you know, whatever though. It's all good. So Shekinah, check this out. Juneteenth is the oldest nationally celebrated commemoration of the ending of slavery in the United States. Dating back to 1865, it was on June 19th that the Union soldiers, led by Major General Gordon Granger, landed at Galveston, Texas, with news that the war had ended and Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation, which had become official on January 1, 1863. Basically, what that meant was that an executive order had then freed those individuals who were considered slaves.
Yes.
Now, here we are in the year of 2020, when we have the opportunity to celebrate that day of real liberation, that day of real freedom. And the reason it's 2 years, the reason it's June 19th and not January 1 is because it took them 2 years and a half to get to those last slaves in Galveston, Texas, to free them. So, we're talking about Juneteenth today.
Yes. We are definitely talking about Juneteenth today, and it couldn't be more important. This year alone, like I've been talking to Rob about this since he told me he was involved in Juneteenth. And now with everything that's happening in our world today and the allies that we've gained and the progress that's happening, there is no reason Juneteenth shouldn't be the litest of lit this year. In my humble opinion.
The littest Juneteenth.
The littest of lit, right? We need to really celebrate this. There are lots of like messages that I see in Juneteenth and the celebration, but I'd love to hear more about your thoughts. If you can hit us up in the comments and let us know why you celebrate Juneteenth, what that means to you, we would love that. But in 2020 and the challenges that we have in our world today, often the conversation of freedom comes up. So of course, me being the lover of words that I am, I went to my trusty dusty dictionary to figure out what freedom really means. If you're anything like me and you rock with shows like Blackish and Grownish and all the ishes, and then you start to see merchandise that says free-ish, it promotes some conversation. So what are we talking about with this freedom? The dictionary says freedom is a noun. It's a state of being free or at liberty rather than in confinement or under physical restraint. That brings a lot of thoughts with what's going on today and the fight for civil rights, for equal rights, for justice in our communities globally, not just in the United States of America. And I think Juneteenth is a great opportunity for us to stop and celebrate some great wins and kind of revive us and push us for even more. So on the Urban Impact Show today, we are talking all about Juneteenth. If you have questions about Juneteenth, you rock with Juneteenth, you think it should be the littiest of litty holidays of the year, or if you like, Shekinah, Rob, I don't even really know about that, hold on, we want to talk to you a little bit about it. So you are watching the Urban Impact Show. We will be back in with Dwana Bradley, the Dwana Bradley.
Yes,
she is involved with Iowa Juneteenth, the chairwoman of Iowa Juneteenth. Specifically, Iowa Juneteenth has been around for 30 years this year. And so that's something great that we want to celebrate. She's going to talk to us a little bit about the history of Juneteenth, why that's important, and what that slate of events looks like this year. P.S. Juneteenth is June 19th. And so that is next Friday, depending on when you're watching this. Friday, June 19th is when the littiest of lit celebrations of the year will be happening. So we want to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, we'll be right back in 30 seconds. If we don't come back in time, it's Shekinah's fault.
Welcome for coming back in 30 seconds.
Hey everybody, welcome back. Can we just double check, make sure hers is on? We're good to go?
Yes.
All right, so we are, first of all, you're watching the Urban Impact Show. Thank you so much for tuning in. Real quick, before we jump into anything, if you haven't seen yet, we do have our Cash App out there because we want to make sure that we're promoting this show and that we're reaching an audience, and we need your help to do so. If you don't mind, please take a moment, send us some Cash App. The Cash App is $, capital U. $. Yeah, $, capital U, capital C, capital M, A, G. So if you wouldn't mind, please, whether it's $5, $2, $3, $1, $100, whatever, just please feel free to go ahead on and shoot that over because we're looking to expand and make this thing bigger. Thanks so much.
Absolutely.
Now, we're talking about Iowa Juneteenth and talking about money. Like, Juneteenth was a whole economic system. The slaves were a whole economic system. And so the fact that we are just now, that they were reached 2 years after was a serious problem, which tells you that the fight came and it took violence in order to free the slaves from what was known as a lifestyle, right? So we got Miss Dwana Bradley, the chairperson. I am super excited because I get the opportunity to work with her one-on-one as the president of Iowa Juneteenth, and working directly with her. She's worked so hard, and I've been there. Shout out to Will, who's the vice president of Iowa Juneteenth.
Shout out to Will.
We've been working with Dwana hand in hand to do this, and the whole team. So huge shout out to Miss Dwana Bradley. So what's up, DB? What's happening? You know.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Good. How are you?
Good.
I am good. I am blessed. I'm excited. I'm nervous. I got all kinds of emotions going through me right now. not for the show, but with everything going on.
Yeah.
I got a lot.
Yeah.
You ain't that nervous. You the bishop's child. So you know
That's real.
Just so you look. She got the church fan already. Right?
The hands of God is on me. Okay.
When you talk about Juneteenth, you just feel real warm inside. We know.
So Dwana, real quick, yes. I want you to run the audience down. What does before we even get to what we're doing with Juneteenth, tell them why you're so involved and why did you take this over as the chairwoman?
Y'all know I'm very honest, so let me just be very clear. I had never heard of Juneteenth when I took over. I tell this to people all the time. I was a kid growing up that was into herself and only about herself, and I was a hard-headed teenager. I lived my own life. I took care of myself. I didn't listen to anyone, and I was not involved in my community. So I had not heard of Juneteenth when we took this on. We were blessed to take it on when we started our magazine, the Urban Experience magazine, now in February of 2015. And so when we took that on, I didn't know what else would be. And it happened to be that Gary Lawson was in his 25th year looking for someone to take custodianship. And the reason we got custodianship was because he remembered an encounter he had with my dad years ago and just felt like if I was anything like him, it would be in great shape. And so as I took it hesitantly, not knowing what it was all about. The more I educated myself and the more I realized what my calling really was, I really start to take ownership of it and really invested myself and my family and friends into this as well.
Definitely your family. The whole. Let me tell you something. The whole family is involved. You hear me? Including the children, the nieces and nephews. You know, if they had a dog, the dog would be barking. Juneteenth.
Sure would.
Juneteenth.
I think that's really important, Dwana, how you bring up like this wasn't. It's not like a picture perfect story. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You weren't aware of what Juneteenth was And once you became aware and you had the opportunity to help move this forward, you jumped right into that. I share that. I hadn't heard of Juneteenth until I came to Iowa. Right? And isn't that funny? People would think, Iowa, we got t-shirts. There are black people there or here. But I hadn't heard of that either. And so tell us a little bit about that passion for Juneteenth. Why do you keep doing the work that you're doing to help spread the message of Juneteenth or have that celebration? What pushes you? What's your passion there?
People. I am about the most people person that you will ever meet. People drive me, people motivate me. I love to know people's stories. I'm interested, in our history. I want to make a difference. But everything I do, this is not about me. Like, we don't put on Juneteenth to get any accolades or to get any shout outs. Like, I like to be behind the scenes. I come forward if I need to. But this is for the community. This work that we all put in to make sure that you all have something great. It gives me no better satisfaction than for someone to catch me on the street and say, man, that Juneteenth y'all put on, that was amazing. That's why we do it. Like, that's the only reason I do it. I do it for the community. It's not for myself. And because we don't have too many things that are ours. Like, and I'm going to say this because I'm not ashamed to say it. My board is 100% black. And I don't apologize for that, because we don't have anything that's ours. It's always interjected with other people. And so I have to make sure that if it's one time a year, and it's not going to be one time a year after this, but if it's one time a year that we speak up and we show up and we show out, it's going to be during Juneteenth. When you look at what we have,
I just told Brother Robert about the littiest of lit. Did you hear me?
Yeah, I loved your words. Yes, that's my new word now.
Littiest of lit. Yes, Webster, holler at me.
Yes, we just can't apologize for that. And this is all about the community, but there's no way that we should not be talking about it. And it's too bad that it took a tragic event, because I'm telling you, this is the first time in 30 years that anyone has mentioned Juneteenth at this level. We ain't had nothing like this. Now, this is something I envisioned when I took it on, but man, to see it come to right now, this makes my heart happy, because now I get to educate people, but I also get to encourage and uplift our people as well during this event.
So for those of you who are just tuning in with us right here at the Urban Impact Show, you have your two hosts, myself, and then the favorite host, Shekinah Young. And we have our guest, Miss Dwana Bradley, who is the chairwoman of Iowa Juneteenth. For those who don't know, Juneteenth is a day that African Americans celebrate because 2 years after the Emancipation Proclamation had been signed, a group of people that were fighting in the Civil War, led by General Gordon Granger, had reached Galveston, Texas, to notify and tell those slaves that they had been freed by Abraham Lincoln, which was the current president at the time. And so this is what we're talking about today. It is so important that we celebrate who we are, right? It's so important. And let's be honest, y'all. Black folk history didn't start with slavery, right? And it for sure isn't going to end with slavery. Right. And when I say that, I mean that by an economic sense, right? Because the reason we're turning up so much this year is because we're fighting for economic freedom. We're fighting for educational freedom. We're fighting for community freedom. We're fighting for reproductive freedom. Why you pointing me? You can reproduce too. Well, I'm going through the I'm going through the line. But yeah, so this is why we're fighting for Juneteenth. That's true. Because Juneteenth is more than just this celebration. It's also a reminder of the fight, a reminder of why we're in this, a reminder that we don't have to wait 2 years after to know that we're free, but we can be free right now.
I know that's right.
And so so real quick, Dwana, I've said a lot. Go ahead on and tell us. Go right now on the Urban Impact Show. Tell us what's happening. Release the info. What's going on with Juneteenth?
So, I know many people are disappointed, as I am myself. We had a week-long's worth of events, ready to go for Juneteenth. We were going to celebrate 30 large, and then we got introduced to COVID, and that took things a different path. But what it never took from me, and I think Rob can attest to this, I never thought for a moment to cancel this event. It wasn't even on my radar. I'm watching everybody drop like flies saying their events are canceled, and I'm like, ain't no way we're canceling Juneteenth, because we always get canceled out, and so it just couldn't happen this year. And so I had to figure out, well, then what does it look like now? So we can't be in huge crowds. I need to be socially responsible. I need to be mindful of the sponsors who give. We can't do anything that might expose people. So we came up with this digital event, and it is going to be 3 days worth of arts, music, health, history, and healing. That's what you're going to see over these 3 days. We have, I'll just throw out some things that you'll see. We're going to still give awards to our award winners on Thursday. We're doing things during the day, and the reason why I chose to do during the day is because I wanted to honor and respect the protesters that come out in the evening and do things. We're not in competition with each other in anything that we're doing, and I want to make sure that people can tune into us during the day, but if you want to go do things in the evening, you can do that. And so, because I stand by what our young people are doing. So 1 to 4 each day, Thursday and Friday, you can tune in and see what's going on with Juneteenth. We will have Deidre DeGier as a speaker on Thursday. We will have Wellmark, who is bringing the health portion to us on Friday. We also will have some interviews with people, some dialogue, some taking care of your health. We've got Zakia English, who will be doing some exercises that you could do from home with her.
I love Zakia.
Some food demonstration. So, it was important to me that during this time we still take care of ourselves. So I'll be talking to Brandy Miller from Girl Trek. And so we've got a variety of things that you're going to see. And then on Saturday, we've got local artists who, during the COVID time were not able to do the things they needed to do. We're going to highlight them on that day so that people can see them and who they are. And so we're going to have 3 days of jam-packed stuff. And the beauty of this is, that really sold me on doing this digital, is this never goes away. So if you don't tune in for the whole 3 hours, that's all right, because guess what? You come back next week and catch a little bit of this, a little bit of that. So I'm not really concerned about how many people we get, viewing at one time. I just know that we now have something documented in our history that will last a long time. So I encourage people to tune in to, whatever works for you. We are going to be dropping a link here by Tuesday at the latest. You can watch this on Apple TV, Fire Stick, Roku, Hulu. All the stuff that you use. There will be no excuse for anybody to say they couldn't tune in to Iowa Juneteenth this year, because we have made it, YouTube, everything. We've made it that you have no excuse to tune in. We also are going to be doing a fundraiser as well, because we want to keep this going, and this is just the beginning for us. We are revamping the way in which we do things. So you're going to see the Des Moines Urban Experience, which hosts Iowa Juneteenth. You're going to see us out there throughout the year. We've got things that we need to take care of, and this is kind of the stepping stone to say, here we are, and then we're going to just keep it pushing throughout the year.
Okay, so Juneteenth is Friday, June 19th. The celebration for Iowa Juneteenth begins Thursday, June 18th, and runs through the 20th, which I believe is Saturday. And so Dwana Bradley, the chairwoman of Iowa Juneteenth, has informed us that it'll be virtual celebrations for the most part from 1 to 4 that Thursday through Saturday. There's a list of speakers. They're highlighting artists. They're highlighting health and wellness, lots of different ways to celebrate our independence as Black folks. Where can people go to get more information about Iowa Juneteenth, to learn of all those things going on? And how can they best engage? Is it just this online platform? I saw something about or maybe that, I'm not sure. It's not a parade. I'm calling it a parade.
The ride with us?
Yes.
That's separate. That's separate.
Okay.
That's separate, but still kind of joined, because we'll do our stuff during the day and we'll have that stuff in the evening. And so Iowa Juneteenth is definitely on board with that will be going on Friday evening, the car protest that we'll do. But you can look at our Juneteenth Facebook page, like us. As information drops there, you can get it. You can check out our website to get information there as well. And then once we have an app that will be dropping as well, you can download that app, and then you can just get little notifications of when certain things are taking place, so that you can be a part of the festivities. And so, like I said, this is not the way I envisioned it, but get ready for Iowa Juneteenth 2021. The theme will be a family affair, and everyone who wants to help make that, like you say, Shekinah, the littest of the littest events, that's what it will be next year. So this year we're rolling with it in the way that it is, but next year it will be even bigger and better than ever.
So I do want to shout you out before we let you go, because we were having this conversation about like Rob, Mother Bradley. Look, we want to be out there with you, but Corona is real, that walking,
Yeah.
And so I'm like, what can we do? So me, my admin Kayla, we always like, and then we talked to Justin Lewis and the KO and some folks, and we was like, what are we gonna do? And so that's when, huge shout out, Kayla came up with Ride With Us, and she did the flyer and everything, and so many people are like, look, like that's a safe way for me to get involved amid all of this. Save a little bit of physical body, but also stay safe from the corona. And so we'll be meeting at 5:30 Friday, June 19th, right there on East 30th and Grand, right there at the fairground. And we'll line all of the cars up. We have the motorcycle clubs are coming out, some truck clubs are coming out, and so the Iowa Juneteenth board will be in the front. They'll be in the front, kind of leading that parade, and then we'll take off from there. So
I think that's going to be so cool. I always envisioned, I was on the Juneteenth committee a couple years ago too. I don't know if you knew that, Rob, but I always envisioned everybody celebrating Juneteenth. You know how when St. Patrick's Day comes up, people are saying, "Kiss me, I'm Irish." They know they not Irish, but that doesn't stop you from celebrating, right? Cinco de Mayo, which is not independence of Mexico, but Cinco de Mayo comes up and people start celebrating and joining in with a culture that isn't their own. And so I was so excited to, I'm excited for Juneteenth because I'm excited for Black Americans, the oldest immigrant in this country, and allies and anybody else that's supporting, to show up and to celebrate that independence. It's always very interesting. I've had conversation with some folks and they say, I wasn't free in 1776. Like 4th of July, what's that for me kind of thing, right? And that's true. This is our independence, right? So this is how we are celebrating that. And I found the website, www.iowajuneteenth.org. That's all spelled out. IOWAJUNETEENTH. I hope that was 2 E's at the end. Y'all know it's rough today. So iowajuneteenth.org is the website where you can go to get more information, or the Facebook page, Iowa Juneteenth. Events start this Thursday, June 18th, and run through Saturday, June 20th. There are some events at night that are more focused on raising your voice and protest. And then the events during the day are focused on health, wellness, supporting artists and businesses, 1 to 4 on digital platforms.
Let's do it.
Are we missing anything?
Yes. No, I think we're good.
Absolute huge shout out to you, Dwana, the Miss Dwana Bradley.
Yes.
Thank you both. And Rob, Mother Bradley says she appreciates you hearing her, because she will be in the car with me on Friday. And so for all of us in the household that you don't know who have underlying health conditions, we can't be out there, but we would love to be out there. So this happening allows her to be able to say she was a part of change as well.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Hey, love you, Dwana. We'll see y'all later.
All right. Love you guys. Thank you.
Hey, peace.
See ya.
We'll be right back. You're watching the Urban Impact Show.
I'm your favorite host, Shekinah.
And I'm your host with the most,
Rob Johnson. That is Robert Johnson. Today we're talking about Iowa Juneteenth. Of course, this is the Urban Impact Show, and we're talking about things that impact our urban communities. Iowa Juneteenth is huge. We are talking about the Day of Independence in 1865, once the last slaves found out in Galveston, Texas.
Galveston.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Pray for my tongue today. It's not right. But after word traveled to them 2 years later, after the Emancipation Proclamation was signed by President Lincoln, 2 years later, the last folks were informed on June 19th.
Yep.
So we can have lots of conversations about why it took so long and all of that jazz. But right now, we are focusing on how we are going to celebrate Juneteenth. And we want to hear from you. Are you celebrating Juneteenth? How do you celebrate Juneteenth? Please let us know that in the comments. And let us know what Juneteenth means to you. In this segment of our show, we wanted to talk with our next generation of leaders. Talking to them about what Juneteenth means to them. How they are accepting, embracing, and celebrating this huge history that's behind them, the shoulders that they stand on to move forward in their leadership. And so we have, I'm going to say this right, people. Give me all your good energy and vibes.
You got it.
Sandra Nasamiyu.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've been practicing. I was practicing. With a name like Shekinah, I want to make sure that I put, like, that I really try. You know, I feel like if we can say Aristotle, if we can say Socrates, we can say Nasamiyu, and we can say Shekinah. So,
she kind of young.
Yes, she is one of the brilliant young leaders in our community from the CORE program. And I believe CORE is Community of Racial Equity. Well, students isn't in there. I put students in there myself. But Community of Racial Equity organization. She's going to tell us more about that and Iowa Juneteenth and what some of the work that they have going on there. So long intro, but I hope you got the nuggets there. So,
so introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about you, what you got going on, and then we'll dive into it.
All right. Well, hi. My name is Sandra Nasamiyu. I am currently a sophomore at the University of Iowa, and I have lived here in Des Moines since I was 3. I immigrated here from Kenya, and I've been doing activism work since I was probably about 14. I joined the NAACP, and that very same year became president of the Youth Council.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I did a lot of debate and speech work, which literally, because of debate and speech, I learned a lot about different aspects of social justice, and it helped things, yeah.
So what does Juneteenth mean to you?
For me, coming here as a Kenyan immigrant, I learned Black history because I came to the realization that whether I'm from Kenya or from Chicago or Atlanta, it don't matter. They see you as Black. And slowly in learning Black history, I couldn't exactly find a pinpoint of when the last slaves were freed because I heard slaves were freed with the Emancipation
Proclamation.
Yeah. But then people kept telling me that's not what really happened, and then I learned about Juneteenth. And so when I think about Juneteenth, I think about the truth. It was the first time anybody really told the truth to everybody. Like, everybody finally came to know what's going on. And so when I realized Juneteenth also wasn't a national holiday in this country, it kind of blew me because I was like, y'all stand so proudly behind that Emancipation Proclamation so much, when in reality, you didn't do your full job. You gave somebody some crumbs and told them be happy with it.
Snaps.
Man, real talk. So tell us a little bit about CORE.
CORE. Okay, so CORE is Community of Racial Equity, and the first CORE started at Roosevelt High School.
Okay.
So my senior year of high school, the summer before, I get called to Valley High School because I've always attended West Des Moines school districts, but I grew up in Des Moines. And I get to meet this new white teacher, and it's me and like 3 other kids in this room. And she looks at us, she's like, I want to start a CORE, and I don't know if any of you guys know what that is, but you guys might be good for it. So I helped co-found the first CORE at Valley High School, which was desperately needed, if I may say so again, desperately, right? So CORE shows up there, and it's like, what are we going to do to infiltrate the school to make it the vision that we have? And the first thing we did is we started to recruit people to join CORE so that we could teach them about what we do and then try to make action steps. So, like, by the end of my senior year, spring break of my senior year, I presented at my first national conference, the White Privilege Symposium. And we were trying to explain to them that when you're trying to teach within high schools or trying to teach high school students, the different aspects you need to understand that go past the classroom. Understanding who we are as individual people and how to better take care of your students of color. Yeah. Because often we throw everybody in the mix, and it's like, that's not how that works. Because when I think about the school that I went to, compared to some of the schools in Des Moines, there's a gap. There is an inequitable gap that it seems like no one wants to fill. I wish that the school that I went to, I could have so much pride behind it and be like, there are kids getting the same level of education that I'm getting, but they're not. So when that CORE came out to Valley, in my head, the biggest mission that we had was to make sure not only that we were able to sustain the students of color at our own school and make them feel comfortable, but how can we, as privileged students going to an overprivileged white school, better help students in our nearby communities who we call our friends, that we hang out with, who don't get the same support that we get all the time.
Okay. So what I hear from that is CORE does programming to help students feel more at home or more safe, or that they have a place within the school, but also does some outside community work as well. Okay.
Yeah, because, you leave school, you go to your community, so you need to make sure that when you're in your own community, you still feel safe.
Right.
Yeah, and we're not just about talk and, like, gathering, clubbing conversations. We believe in action plans. We believe in steps. And so, like, this coming week, where we wanted it to be on the week of Juneteenth specifically, the event that we're putting together, which is the Youth Voice, Youth Speaks event, and it's from Monday to Friday.
It's about programming, right?
Programming, all about the programming. So we wanted it to specifically be ran by all youth, the entire thing. Because I feel at times that when we partner with adults, be honest, because, like, when you guys were our age, you probably saw it too, sometimes you're overshadowed. It's the idea of, like, you need to respect your elders, but as you're respecting your elders, they're still overshadowing you because they think, you don't know as much as I do, youngin', right? So we put this event together, and we invited representatives, we have school board members, we have senators, we have activists and people in the communities, councilmen coming, but we want them to come to listen specifically to what we as youth have to say. Not only hear our stories, but more so hear solutions, hear things that we want them to do to better the community that we live in for our sake, but also for the sake of the next generation, because we're trying to be you guys. That's the thing. We're going to take over. Y'all can't be in office forever.
We're going to take over.
We're going to take over.
That sounds so welcoming, right?
We're going to take over.
We are your leaders.
We are your leaders.
Like, we're your future leaders. Breed us in the best way possible to be like you guys, but we can't have that if there's a disconnect between our conversations all the time.
That is very true, that there is a disconnect. I think that I was raised to respect elders. I think that there is some conversations that need to take place between generations. I think there's room for everybody to be impactful and to have action. And I think we just have to check egos at the door and make sure that we're doing things for the betterment of the community. I think that I want to hear more about what CORE has going on. You said you wanted to set something up during the week of Juneteenth. It's going to be, I guess, featuring youth and hearing their. What are those events that are coming up? What's happening at those events?
So we're kicking off Monday with what do we want from our police officers and speaking about police brutality. And then it goes into Tuesday, which is what do we want from our white peers. So on Monday, what do we want about police brutality is going to start at Lincoln High School, right? Okay. But then for the next day, which is what we want from our white peers, I specifically wanted it to be in West Des Moines near Valley High School, right? So we want everybody to come out to the suburbs that day. And so
this is in person?
This is in person, yes. We chose all outdoor spaces for this very reason. We don't want to so
they can socially distance.
Yeah, no 50 people maximum, you know? So we wanted that to happen. And then on Wednesday, it is what do we want from our black leaders, right? And then Thursday, it goes into what we want from our legislation. And on Thursday specifically, we have so many representatives coming. And I encourage all of you to tell your kids, your cousins, your neighbors, your dogs, all of them to show up.
The dogs too, y'all.
Can show up too. Because if there's one thing I hate, is truthfully people who complain but have no resolutions to their problem. You can't just complain, bro. It's not how that works. So I want students to show up. I want youth to show up. Anywhere from ages 0 to 25, 30. If you consider yourself the youth, pull through, right? And let us know your solutions. Let us know what you think they need to do differently. This is the perfect opportunity for us as youth to come together and tell these people what we want. Because we're going to be them, so we're going to live in this world forever with everything that every action that our government makes impacts us. So why not have a voice in it? We don't vote. It is so sad. The youth just don't vote.
Yeah.
And if we can slowly get them involved in things like this, like little town halls, and teaching them the fact that you can literally sign up to vote on your phone. We don't even know that stuff.
Yeah.
We want to work to
But y'all know other stuff that be on YouTube. And they gonna take over. Remember that.
We're gonna take over. Y'all can screenshot.
After we get them registered to vote, we gonna gladly
be like,
fly.
Do you? But just register to vote.
Right. Very true.
So then after this entire week happens, The idea is from all the notes that the adults come and take from the different legislators, all that, is that Friday we have the big kickoff, right? For the Juneteenth festival. And we want to hear what their action plans are from what they've heard we've told them.
So you have this event that starts Monday. Tomorrow the 15th.
15th.
Yeah. So it starts Monday the 15th and it goes through the end of Thursday. But then there's a kickoff on Friday to kind of culminate everything that happened the week to hear about what the next steps moving forward will be. Oh, that's cool.
We need the solutions. We've given you 4 days. And it's like,
Except
that's
the people
not
from
a lot
Thursday,
of
they
time.
get one
The
day.
people on Thursday were like
24 hours.
But like, sometimes I feel like people go into office and they just spend days drinking coffee and sitting around because I don't see a lot of change, but I always see a lot of talking.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? The 4 days don't seem like that much to me. I think you can think of something in 4 days.
So a lot of times people will say there's a process, right? Like you know, a KO represent. Let me step back and put some respect on it.
All of the respect on it.
State representative at KO Abdul Samad has been in the state legislative, the state house representing District 35 for some time, and he has been pushing for bills and for things like this that will go to committee and then go to subcommittee, get kicked out of subcommittee, and then he'll push for something else that'll go to committee, go to subcommittee, go back to committee, and then get voted down on the House floor. And so I think a lot of times people always talk about the process. So what are you guys looking for when they come back? Like, how do you want them to circumvent or to navigate through these process? Because let's face it, right now there's in particular group that has control of the process, and they will make the decision on whether or not it will follow that process or not.
I think that's actually a really good question. And you know how movements start, but then they die off? It's accountability. I hate to say it, but it's like, hey, I'm going to need you to actually do what you said you're going to do, or you're not going to be in office. I'm not going to vote for you next time.
Right.
And we actually have to hold on to that. As Black folks, as youth, we have to be like, this is what you wanted. They didn't give you what you want. You have the opportunity right now to vote and get them out of office. Right? And inside of the process of before the voting aspect, when they're still in office, it's also still about accountability. But it's about going through those subcommittees that you're talking about, right? So checking up on that, looking through that, saying, I understand that this is what you're going to do, but you got a team. It just doesn't pass through you. So what is your team going to do? How do you plan to talk to your team about this? Because often they'll be like, yeah, we're going to do that. But then the process pops up. It's like, we got to go through here, here, and here. So how do you plan to explain this to here, here, and here so that I get what I want? You can't, if you have to literally detail that thing out, tell me, I got time.
So I want to throw this in there, and y'all forgive me because I want to throw this in here. Because Donald Trump is campaigning on a slogan called Promises Kept, which means that the people who came to him to say what they want, he's been giving them what they want. And so he's like, I kept my promises to the people that are voting for me. So how are we going to get, because right now they have power, right? So how are we going to get this stuff through moments like these? Because he's like, look, you didn't give them to my campaign and you're not voting for me. Why should I listen to you? I'm listening to those who are voting for me, and I'm giving them what they're asking for. Promises kept. And I'm sorry to jump, Shekinah.
No problem,
I know 2 questions in back to back. I'm
just
sorry.
the favorite host. I just, I don't run anything. I just bring us back when we go too far.
Lord have mercy. But no, I wanted to, because I want our youth to really think through that and talk about that and make sure that, because that's what you're up against, right? Those are the forces, and you say we want this, they say we're gonna do it this way. How do we, even if you get your Black legislators on board, how do you expect for them to navigate that with that type of pressure coming toward them?
I think, just to allow a little bit more time, because we don't want to put you on the spot about stuff, I think that's really the power in coalitions.
I agree.
And in working across the aisle is the term, which even within generations, within cultures, that's what that's about to me. And that's why it's so important for people to, for lack of better terms, stay in your lane. Like if I bake pies well, I don't need to bake a cake because I do this very well. And Susie bakes good cakes. Shout out to Susie with your cakes, girl. But so let me do what I do really well. And if I organize very well,
like they do,
let me do that really well.
Yep.
And if you legislate well, if you negotiate well, if you have friends here, there, wherever, and I'm happy to come along and learn that from you or pick up something or sharpen who I am as a person or whatever skill sets I want to play out in the future. But this is where it takes, let me do what I do really well. And that becomes a challenge. That's why I mentioned earlier about when we talk about who's a leader and who's not a leader is a real sexy word that doesn't quite give you the thought process of the requirements that come along with it to be a leader. Right? So there are, when you were younger, I can't wait till I grow up. I don't want to be in this house. I want blue hair. I want to do this. I want to do that. And your mom was like, no. And then you grew up and you was like, is this what it's about? I want, no, trade back. I don't want
that
it.
First Mid-American bill came.
Right. So I think that we really need to work together. That's why it's so important working across the aisle.
Yeah.
And modern day across the aisle is allyship.
Yeah, that's what Juneteenth is about, right? It's about bringing everybody together to celebrate and to culminate all of this stuff so that everybody is working on progress. Everybody's, whether you Democrat, Republican, whether you black, white. Juneteenth is, yes, the celebration of this, and I'm so glad y'all are doing that week-long, that week-long programming. Yes. But it's about everybody. So that means our white allies need to be talking to their white friends about, hey, I know that you probably have had an issue with the Black Lives Matter thing, but come to this and let's talk. Like, let's see through it. So I love what you guys are doing.
They need the experience to know what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. For your question, I think she's right. You do have to, everyone has a skill set. You can't be a master of all. That's not how it works. And by building coalitions and all of us uniting with one another and knowing your strengths, you can be a lot stronger than I think we know. Like, there's so much power in being together. Mm-hmm. And the reason Trump has power is because there's the people in our states also support his power. So, like, no one really thinks about local elections heavily, but local elections are everything.
Bingo.
People love talking about, we're gonna vote every 4 years in November.
Right.
What?
Right.
We got elections like every year in this state.
Yeah.
And I can't say that it's like just specifically one person's fault, because even me myself, I'm still learning more and more about politics every day. And not everybody wants to learn about it. But knowing the bare minimum basics of your human rights in this country is so important.
Yeah.
It is the bare minimum. All you gotta know is you gotta vote on this day. Figure out who you want to vote for. Mm-hmm. What's gonna best represent you. It's gonna take you 20 minutes.
So I know we're wrapping up. I gotta shout her out, man, because she led such a great march in West Des Moines. Yep. And they took over. They went to the park. They had some conversations, and I just wanted to definitely shout out your leadership. Thank you. Super excited to see that. And I think, I've been checked on this a couple of times this week. We need to start amplifying our black women voices. We need to start making sure that it's not an afterthought, but it's but it's something that we can that we think of when tables are being drawn up and stuff are being discussed and people who's all in the room, right? Mm-hmm. We got to start making sure that we're thinking about that and that we're making moves on that. So
definitely,
Malcolm said it, and I'll quote it.
I love her. I love it, all of it. Where can people go to get more information about this week's events in celebration of Juneteenth that CORE are putting on?
Yes, okay. So on Facebook, if you search CORE, C.O.R.E, you will also find it. Also, search up my name on Facebook. I post it all the time about what is going on in the community to get the word out. And we have Instagram, Twitters. Every single high school that has a CORE, from Johnston to North, they have Twitter accounts, Instagram accounts. You can look on any of them. You will find more information about everything that's going on.
Give that address one more time.
For core?
Yep.
She said search it.
C.O.R.E. Core.
You search that on any of the platforms. Well, that is so cool. Congratulations to you and Core for making great strides in having the littiest of lit Juneteenth celebrations this week. We are pushing our folks to get out to your event starting Monday through Friday's event. In addition to Iowa Juneteenth's event,
they'll be speaking right before we leave the ride with us. They're going to be giving their result oriented talk. Right, so everybody that's going to be at the Ride With Us event on June 19th over starting at East 30th and Grand for the Ride With Us event, they're going to be the ones kicking us off, giving us that information on the progress, on what our youth are doing, and their results oriented stuff. So
right, that's good stuff. Well, you are watching the Urban Impact Show. We're talking all about Juneteenth, what it is, what it means to you if you're celebrating, if you're not celebrating. Hang on with us. We are not finished yet. We have another guest that'll be coming up right after this one. Thank you so much, Sandra, for being here.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you so much. You're watching the Urban Impact Show. We'll be right back.
You are watching the Urban Impact Show, and we're talking all things Juneteenth. How Juneteenth 2020 is going to be the littiest of lit celebrations throughout the entire year, but we need you to engage to make that happen. We had a conversation with Ms. Dwana Bradley of Iowa Juneteenth. The Iowa Juneteenth organization has been around for 30 years, and this year they wanted to do this huge celebration. Obviously, COVID has put a little blanket on that, but we are reclaiming our time and doing virtual Juneteenth celebrations during the day. So that's Thursday, June 18th through Saturday, June 20th, 1 to 4 p.m. Iowa Juneteenth will have virtual events during the day for people to participate in. They're focusing on health and wellness, history and education, as well as supporting some small businesses or just entrepreneurs and other artists that may not have had opportunities because of events and things like that being canceled due to COVID. So we talked to Dwana first. And then we had the pleasure of talking to Sandra. Let me look at my notes again. Her last name is like nice to meet you. Nasamiyu.
There, you got it.
Sandra Nasamiyu from CORE. CORE is Community of Racial Equity. It's a student group started at
Roosevelt
High School, and it's making its way through the other high schools. And she was just talking about, from a young leader perspective, what she was interested in, what the CORE group is doing to fight for racial equity, and how they are celebrating Juneteenth. There are events that the CORE group is hosting starting Monday, June 15th, and going all the way through Friday, June 19th, ending with a culmination celebration. Their events are more focused on having dialogue about the changes that we need to see, and then following up with an event on Friday to talk about what are those next steps. And Juneteenth it means a lot, right? It has a lot going on. There are several messages that one can unpack in there. The Emancipation Proclamation was written 2 years prior to when we actually started celebrating Juneteenth. And that's a message in itself about how we get information out to folks, which is why shows like the Urban Impact Show, why Urban City Magazine, things like that are very important. Our communication avenues led by us, for us, are very important and impactful, and they need to be sustained. Also causing that 2-year gap had something to do with the economy and wages, and folks in Texas needing a harvest and wanting to get that for an ever so cheap price. And so, sadly, the information didn't get to the laborers until after that harvest needed to be gone. But Juneteenth is so important, and we need to, as Auntie Maxine says, reclaim our time. If we can get excited about the 4th of July, which, we should be. Woohoo, America, we're free. Land of the free and the brave and all that jazz. But we need to be ever so excited about our own personal freedom, what those freedoms mean, and fight for that on a regular basis. So please join into the Iowa Juneteenth celebrations. Please join in with CORE students in the celebrations of Juneteenth that they are having. You celebrate Juneteenth the way that you know best to fight for your freedom so that we all can enjoy life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Robert?
First of all, absolutely love and adore you. Thank you for what you're doing as well, Shekinah, and how you're helping lead the way. Real talk, like, let's just be honest with ourselves and have our family conversation. We want to do a better job at celebrating us. Mm-hmm. We got to do a better job at making us feel and look good and feel good and sound good, you know. And so huge shout out to everybody that is in this thing, that is in this movement. Huge shout out to all of the youth who have decided that we will not be silent, and that we will speak up, and we will speak our minds, and we will do what we feel is right to do in our heart, whether that's protests or no matter what their skill set is. A lot of them are jumping in on different things and different angles. So real shout out to everybody out there. Thank you all so much for listening. Real quick, I want to give you this one more time. If you don't mind, please feel free to donate to the Urban Impact Show at $, capital U, capital C, capital M, A, G. So please feel free, whether it's $1, $3, $5.
And that's through Cash App.
Yes, that's through Cash App. Please feel free. But we could not end this show because it is my girl's birthday. Woo! We could not end this show without at least giving her something to say. Ew. Happy birthday.
That is so pretty.
To my friend.
You.
On behalf of all of us.
I am the favorite. Do you see?
On behalf of all of us here at the Urban Impact Show, we could not end this. We could not end this without.
Thank you.
So huge shout out to Hal Dixon, who got all of this stuff. Our producer.
Thank you, Hal.
Shout out to the whole team. Right, you know, we're building. Also, if you want to be a part of this team and you have a skill set that you think we could use on this team,
or even if you want to learn and grow a skill set, in production, directing, camera, lighting, scripting.
Yeah,
we want to, help grow our people.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's what we're here for. It's for us, by us. Like, let's do what we can to make this thing pop, and we win all together, right? We all win together. So as we sign out, I want to encourage you, please show up to the Juneteenth. Let's not just sit here and protest, but let's celebrate all of the stuff that's been going on, and then continue to protest and continue to fight. This fight can't end just because the news stopped talking about it or because they stopped covering it. This fight must continue. Right. So shout out to everybody. I hope to see you Friday, June 19th, over on East 30th and Grand at 5:30 p.m. And make sure you bring your cars, bring your kids, bring your signs, and we're gonna be starting out over there for our Ride With Us Juneteenth celebration. You're welcome. Thank you so much for watching the Urban Impact Show.
Yes.
We out.
We're out. Yeah.